The Maythorn Monthly this month is in Bulgaria, and we're starting out in Varna, as we often do, because we fly into Varna airport, and we've got a hotel room here with a balcony and sea views. Slight problem, it's misty out to sea, so you wouldn't know. Take two. Welcome to Varna. I'm on a balcony overlooking the sea, the Black Sea, and I'm in the Sea Gardens, where we're in a complex called the Maxim Complex. It has, and I'll show you some pictures to look around here, it has all this wooden furniture that looks handmade. I'm sure it probably is. It's all over the place, all over the garden. It's inside the apartments, and it's across the road in the little cafe bar restaurant. So somebody has been busy making furniture. It's nice. We're in Varna because it's one of our favourite places. When we come to Bulgaria, we fly from Liverpool to Varna, and then we head up to Svishtov and we go to the village of Oresh, where work on my house is progressing. And that's going to be the main subject for a few months now. An old village house that you can buy at a really good price, and then spend a lot more than you paid for it, bringing it into use, refurbishing it, adding facilities to it, and just making it into a great place to live in a really nice village. So that's what we're all about for the next few months. Bulgaria, and in particular the Svishtov and Oresh areas. Right next to our apartment in the Sea Gardens was the Horizon restaurant. Now, we've eaten here before when we've been in Varna, and I seem to remember it was very good. But on this particular occasion, despite the fact that it was the closest to where we were staying, we couldn't go in here because it was booked for a wedding. So a quick look and we moved on. It's a 2-minute walk round to the Dolphinarium, which is also in the Sea Gardens, and although it was closed when we got there, we did have a quick look round, and upstairs is a restaurant which overlooks the sea from there. Yeah, there's a white cat just walking past down below there, you can't see that. As you can see, we found a place to eat and drink in the Maxim complex itself. The furniture is very similar, and it was quite interesting because a number of animals like rabbits were here, and lots of things for the kids to do, including a playground at the back which we didn't go and see. From Varna we made our way inland, having got ourselves a hire car to do so, and we went slightly past Svishtov and into Belene, which is also on the Danube River. Okay, we are staying at a hotel called the Prestige. It's at Belene, and that's about 15 kilometers from Oresh, where my new house is. It's a hotel that we chose because it overlooks the river Danube, and we were upgraded because the hotel's very quiet to a big room, almost a suite of rooms, which has got this balcony view across the Danube. It's really good, only I risk myself having a collision with a house martin standing here, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 house martin nests up here above in the, I suppose you'd call it the eaves of this balcony, and they love nesting in the eaves, so they're flying backwards and forwards all the time. And as I walked out here before, one nearly hit me in the face, but they know I'm here now, and we've always got on well with house martins in Spain, so why not here in Bulgaria? Now, although not strictly speaking a beach, there is an area down at the riverfront below which is strewn with little rowing boats and things, and if you're a customer of the hotel, you can hire one of these out and go rowing, and we have seen motorised boats as well. So it's an area worth exploring. Did come down here once before, a year or so ago, but we didn't stay in this hotel, we just sort of popped down to have a look. So let's have a further look round the area around the Prestige Hotel. Well, the hotel's quiet, which means the outside space is also quiet, and we can sit out here having a drink. Notice this is lemon and nothing alcoholic. I have been driving around at the moment, but shortly we'll be staying here for the evening, going into the restaurant for a meal, and then I will have some alcohol. It's been a great place to be. It rained a couple of times. Yesterday we sat out here when we arrived, and the sky got rather dark. I can show you pictures of that. But later on in the evening, we were in the restaurant at the time, the sun started setting, the sky cleared, and it was quite an interesting sky as we looked out from the restaurant. But today, nice and sunny. We had a rainy start to the day, and now we've got a lot of heat. I can feel it on the back of my neck. The sun is behind me, and it's glorious here. And don't anybody ever tell you that Bulgaria is a naff place to be, because it certainly isn't. We found loads and loads of places that we've really enjoyed being. And this is a little bit hidden. If you'd seen us trying to use a sat-nav to get through the housing estate to get here, you would only laugh. And how many wrong turnings did we take? But we get here in the end, and it's worth it. This is the week that I start breaking ground at my house in Oresh, so I'm heading there now. We've got a digger organised, an electrician organised. I've been into Svishtov to Energo the electricity company, and had my electricity sorted out. I'm getting a new meter while I'm here, and everything will start getting done. So woohoo, let's go! So this is the house in Oresh. It's a bungalow effectively with a bit of a basement below, and what we're going to do to it over the next few months is get rid of these old windows. Now at the moment that one's the kitchen and also a bird's nest, because I don't know if you can see from here, but one of the glass panes has gone and birds have been getting in there, and there's a house martin's nest in what will be the kitchen. That will have a new window looking out on the view, and then here, the living room side, the living room's got quite a small window. I'm not having that. I'm having a patio door, which I've already worked out a deal with somebody locally who's selling a patio door, so we're having a patio door put there. Our living room will have nice views across the valley, and then, well, actually what's going to happen first is we need a bathroom. So there's an area around the back here. We have agreed with Davey that we can build the whole width or depth, the way you're looking at it, of the house, and the building there, and it'll contain a bathroom, and also we'll put an ensuite to the bedroom because we can. So that's the plan, and soon we've arranged with someone called Martin. As you can tell, that's an English name, so someone English living here in the village called Martin, and he's going to come with his digger, and he's going to start digging out and excavating for the foundations of that. Now I don't know if you can follow me round a little bit, but we have all this triangular shaped piece of land which I've mentioned before. We're going to put a septic pit in there, and again Martin's going to dig that out, and that will be just onto the land which is apparently municipal. And if you swing around a little more, I'm coming behind the camera now, so down here this is going to be the way out onto the street. So this is going to be a driveway. Now this is fairly flat and then drops away steeply, so the first thing Martin has to do with his digger is make this a smoother slope up from the road, so that people can drive their cars into here, and you've got the house over there, the patio doors coming out, you may have noticed that the level was a bit high, so we're going to put a raised patio kind of thing in front of the patio doors, and then the driveway will be down here. So that's the plan. I could show you pictures and drawings and things, but it's much better to come out here and explain it. So the digging starts in the next few days. Although it's probably the last bit of the house we're going to work on, we're looking at the porch first because it may be a subject of demolition. It's got metal windows and doors. It's got lots of old bits and pieces. It's got old wiring, and basically there's nothing quite here that I'd want to keep. I have a better idea for the porch, and if we go outside you'll see what I mean. There's the metal window from the porch outside as Davy comes down the steps, and below that is the entrance to the cellar. Now the porch is directly above the cellar, and I'm wondering if we could actually get some proper stairs going down into the cellar from inside the house. Since we were last here, the garden's got overgrown again, and although you can still see the shape of the proposed driveway, that's also overgrown, so that's going to be one of the first things we tackle. There's the kitchen window on the left and the lounge window on the right, and just around the corner there's another window from the lounge facing out onto the road. Davy is measuring up today. He starts round the back and then comes into the house and measures various windows. Now the bedroom is very dark. All the windows are either covered up or bricked up, so you can't really see in here, but there's a column in the corner on the left back wall which supported the chimney that we've now taken down, so those bricks can come out now. The living room is also dark at the moment. That's because the window facing the road is all covered up, and there's only a small window that goes out to the garden. Davy's measuring the kitchen window. We'll probably raise the height of that a bit to get some kitchen units underneath, and of course the sink will come out as well. Well, here we are at the house in Oresh. It's the day we're breaking ground, and we're breaking it good style with the digger behind. Martin is digging us out a driveway. As you can see, it's got a better slope already. Some of the wood that we cleared from the garden a few weeks back, well I think it's about 6 weeks ago, is now being burnt. The day when the garden was cleared it was far too windy to have a fire. Terry's here. He's actually up on the roof and already taken down the chimney this side. Progress has been pretty swift so far. A bit smoky here, and there's a van coming down and I might get run over, so might Ruth on the camera, so we'll step out the way. So 2 men working on site in the early days of this project. Terry's on the roof taking down chimneys, throwing the bricks on the floor, and he'll be going up on the roof later to rebuild where the holes are. We have an old summer house outbuilding here which has got a lot of spare bricks and tiles, so we're not going to be short of materials to patch things up. After Martin has finished digging out the driveway, he'll come round the back, and hopefully by then Terry's ladder will be gone because Martin will be digging up the whole area. A little later, and Martin has moved a digger around the back to start clearing the area where we need the footings for the bathroom extension, and Terry is up on the roof with bits of timber patching up the hole and putting some tiles over it. During this first week of works, we're staying in Svishtov, and the name Svishtov is seen here on the sign both in the Latin alphabet and in the Cyrillic alphabet. You may actually be able to tell if you look at the two words side by side on this map that the B and the V are a match for each other. So now, back down on the dock road, this sign which welcomes you to Svishtov has got the B missing. Each day when we left the building site, we came into Svishtov and we had a bit of leisure time here. Plenty of restaurants and bars in this area and plenty of places to sit and enjoy the sun.
So these are the flowers slightly wilting in the heat on Aleko Square. The municipal building is on one side of the square. The hotel I often stay in is on another side. But the bit we've been visiting today is on that side. The reason you can probably hear music in the background is because the place where we park next to the Trumpet pub there's a fairground there at the moment, and so we've actually left the car at our hotel. We're staying in the hotel down on the dock road, so we've walked up here and we've had our lunch at the Trumpet, and we've been entertained by this wonderful music that's going on. It's a kiddies fair, so not one that the teenagers will be going on, but nevertheless it adds a bit of action to things here, and nobody actually knows how long the fair's going to stay here that I've spoken to, because it was an Easter fair, who knows. Anyway, the Pre-Popper Hotel we're staying in is down on the dock road, so let's go down there and give you a look at that.
I'm not taking you into the hotel, I'm taking you down to the River Danube, and as you can see from the satellite view, it's a fair way down there if you're walking, and there's no straightforward route. We tried a number of different ways and eventually we just went for it and took the route that Google said we should take.
First time ever since I've been coming to Bulgaria, I've seen the ferry from Svishtov that goes over to Romania. I knew it was the ferry because there are trucks on it, and I've heard that it's big enough to take trucks, so there it is. And this is actually quite a nice little bit of shore here with lots of private people's boats down here, and it's very secluded. It's taken a long walk down from the Pre-Popper Hotel where we're staying. Of course, the problem is we now have to walk back up the hill to get back to the hotel, but we'll worry about that later. It is really beautiful down here, and quite a few people are living in makeshift shacks almost down here, and we know they're living here because we've seen some of them and we've smelt garlic from their cooking. So yes, imagine being right down here on the front by the Danube in a property that costs very little indeed, I would imagine, and having these great views. Welcome back to the house in Oresh, where things have been going on inside the property as well, and you should be able to see behind me how the wall is being knocked down. I managed to knock plaster off this wall a few years back when I was just touching it. Now it's going proper. The whole of the wall behind me will be coming down, and what I'm standing in will be a sort of kitchen area, but it'll be part of the living room. And the wall that comes down will make room for a fairly big patio door so that we can look out on the land that we have out here, which is quite substantial even though it's small by Bulgarian standards.
Unfortunately, you can't just go at this wall with a sledgehammer and knock it to pieces because it's made of mud bricks, and as soon as you touch them, they crumble. And so Terry is having to shovel out loads of dusty rubble, shovel load by shovel load, outside the window. Now the place he's putting it outside, it can stay there because this is where we're building our raised patio, and guess what? We will need some rubble to build that up. So that's actually quite convenient.
And so the footings are now dug out for our new bathroom extension. There's a channel that's been dug down to where the septic tank's going to be, and we've dug a pit to build such a thing. I'm not sure I want to get totally involved with that bit.
With a lot of the preparation work done, materials are beginning to be delivered, a load of cement and some really long pieces of soil pipe that only just fit crossways in my cellar. Cellar's been padlocked, it's become the store for building materials for now.
He opens his mouth to say how much he loves me.
With Martin having done the basic excavation of the site and created the shapes we need, it's now down to fine-tuning, scraping the dust off the surface, if you like. Lots of loose soil, and the driveway needs to be a fairly hard standing for vehicles to come in. So if we take this long shot, you can see that all the sort of dust he's been scraping off gives us a good driveway, which we'll have to put to the test with an actual car pretty soon. Now, I've got absolutely no experience in this kind of work, but then I don't suppose Martin's done any broadcasting. He has to go into this pit to remove a lot of the loose soil there as well, and the septic pit is quite deep. So I would have said this little digger might tip up, but if you see what he's done, he's gone sideways onto it. It's less likely to tip, and so we can take the bucket right down deep into the hole. That is Enego Pro, and they've now come to fit us a new meter, and then our electrician Josef will be putting in some electrics in the weeks to come. The final look round Svishtov, and let's see if we know where all the important places are. There's the hospital. There's the banks, and this is just one of them, the one Colin banks with. There's the Enego Pro, yes, talk of the devil. There's some mobile phone companies for your phone contract. And of course the main supermarket in Svishtov is Billa, a German supermarket. But the most important place of all is the place I get my bananas in the Svishtov market. And we're back here today to see how they're getting on. So let's pop over. It's behind us. Yeah, somebody said that once, didn't they?
It's behind you.
It is. It's behind all that piece of land there, and House Martin's just zooming round us here. So we've just discovered a load of wasp nests on our property, so we're having to deal with them as well. Let's go and take a look.
Last week you'll have seen Terry taking down half this wall, mud bricks and all that crumbled dust. Well, this week he's brought his acro props, and we're going to take the rest of the wall down. We're going to put in 2 timber lintels. Not quite sure if these are to support the roof above or they are to support the ceiling when we have to build across the gap, but I'm sure they'll probably actually do both. So the acro props are temporarily needed, and once the timber's in place, the rest of the wall comes down. Moving on to the bedroom, and I said that the bricked up window was going to be properly done because it's never going back in again. Taking the cover off the bedroom window means a little more light in the bedroom so you can see what you're doing. There'll be another week before we look at getting any electrics in, so we just need to get as much natural light in as possible. Taking more wall down means more rubble created and more to shovel outside, so that's carrying on. floor in the hall and the floor in the little scullery area in front of the sink were all badly cracked, and they were going to be taken up anyway. But examination of the rest of the flooring means that we've decided to take it all up because some of the boards are rotten or have woodworm. We've got cracked concrete, and we thought it was best to start again, concrete the whole floor and then tile it. So over the next week or two you'll see us chipping away at that in between jobs. I decided to go for a walk up to the church, which isn't far from the cafe where we meet every morning, and I was going to go and try and look in the church, but there was a funeral on, and I was interested to see that they take the coffin away in a van. It's not always the same van, because we saw a couple of funerals in the last few weeks, but they take the coffin up the hill to the cemetery, which is by the house I bought in 2007. While we're up here, let's have another look around the old tumble-down house that fell apart. And since we were here in March, it's become even more overgrown in the courtyard area. Can't really see the building through all the brambles and trees. And the approach path, which had been cleared by someone a couple of months ago, it's now back overgrown again. And some of these bits are prickly, so it wasn't very pleasant walking through here. So back on the job, and it's time to set some levels today, but first I wanted to demonstrate the depth of the septic pit, because every photograph I've taken of it, it doesn't look that deep. So here's Eric, he's going to step down into the pit to set some levels down there. What you can't see until you look a bit more closely is that Terry's already down there, and it needs a step ladder to get into the hole. So we're showing you the pegs and the wooden pegs and the string, which is setting the level for the foundations. And there are also some pegs deep down in that septic pit. You can just about see those. So there we are. We're just awaiting some ready-mix concrete, which is on order and should come in the next day or two. In the meantime, Terry is taking up more floors, and this time in the main part of the hall, he's preserving all the small stones to use as rubble. So it's only the big ones he's putting in the buckets because he won't be using those. Little jobs are going on here all the time, and in the not quite so dark bedroom you may be able to see that the original column of bricks that was supporting the chimney we no longer have, that's all been taken down. And there are other jobs going on. We've checked the water, the outside tap is working, and also the feed to what was the kitchen sink. There's also water coming through there, which is good news. We take one last look at the view, which is the thing that we're building here for. We just want to sit here and get this view once it's all finished. And then we move on, because the next morning it's time for the ready mix. As the truck tries to drive in through the driveway that we've created, we hit a bit of a hiccup, and it's not the drive's fault. There's a lack of traction on the grass verge outside, and the wagon finds it just can't push through the gates. Its wheels keep slipping. So, emergency plan rolls into operation. I'm never sure why they had these planks nailed together, but here they come into use as a backstop, because they're going to have to drop all this ready-mix concrete at the bottom of the drive, and of course it will run out onto the street. It's as though they expected this and they were already prepared for it. Now, time is not on our side at this point because the concrete will go off very quickly, so it needs to be put where it's going before it sets. So all the men doing all different jobs around the plot, in fact I think from around the village by the look of it, they all came down to help to get this stuff moved very quickly. And it's amazing how much concrete you can shift with just 2 wheelbarrows. It's poured straight into the foundations of our new bathroom, and after that it's poured down into the septic pit hole up to the level set by the pegs. There was a little bit of concrete left over, and that made a concrete path along the front of the house. Waste not, want not.
So just going to tell you about this hill I'm about to drive down. So my house is up there on the left, and from here we go steadily downhill. So if you look ahead down there, you'll see that we're heading down a pretty steep hill. You may not be able to see the screen just to the right of the steering wheel, but if you can, it's got my mobile phone connected to it, and you should be able to see a little dial pad and the fact that we're roaming in Bulgaria. But the hill is the thing, and the other day I was driving down here, heading down to the main road to head out to Svishtov, and suddenly the dashboard thing in the middle of the screen there said to me, "You've had a WhatsApp message from Becky Pagan. Would you like to hear it?" So I didn't know at that point that the car even did that, but it did. I said yes, and the car read me the message and said, "Would you like to reply?" I said yes again, and I was driving over this very bumpy piece of road which apparently has been ridged to help horses come down here, and I dictated a message back to the car, and the car said, "Would you like to send that?" And I said yes, and off it went to Becky in Australia. That kind of technology I always found impressive. I might try later on in the day to demonstrate how that works, but obviously I can't just get Becky to call us. I'll get a WhatsApp message from somewhere so you can see how that works later on.
We start this week with deliveries. The sand has already been delivered and the blocks are arriving, and there are a lot of them. The team wastes no time in getting them unloaded, and Eric starts putting them up, so our bathroom starts taking shape. So as Monday comes to a close, the pictures show that there's been good progress in the building of our extension at the back of the little house in the village. Moving on to Tuesday, and more of the same. You can see that the site is slightly sloping, but the floor inside will be level, so there is an increasing number of concrete blocks showing as you get towards the end that leads out to the septic pit. You can see the dugout channel to take the piping, that's going to come in future weeks, and the septic pit is also downhill from the whole site. There's work going on inside as well, and we're getting rid of the hall, and so we're bricking up the wall that's between what was the kitchen and what was the hall. Yes, all the usage is changing. So the door frame and its door have been pulled out. You'll also see that the floorboards have mostly been pulled up now, as we have plans to concrete the floor. As Tuesday ends, we'll take you back to Svishtov and a look round the square. The Hotel Danube, as it's now called, overlooks the square, and we stay here quite a lot. But one thing I haven't forgotten is that I promised to show you the Android Auto in operation before we take the hire car back. Ruth is sitting beside me. She's sent me a WhatsApp message, and this is how it's progressed on the car's equipment.
Hello. Do you want to reply?
Yes.
Okay, what's the message?
Hello, Ruth. This is the Maythorn Monthly calling.
I got, hello Ruth. This is the Mayfair on monthly calling. Do you want to send it, or change it?
Change it.
Okay, what's the message?
Hello, Ruth. This is the Maythorn Monthly calling.
I got, hello Ruth. This is the Maythorn Monthly calling. Do you want to send it, or change it?
Send it.
Okay, it's sent.
Well, that was the best we were going to get. Obviously doesn't understand the word Maythorn. We're back at the house on Wednesday. They're bricking up the doorway that they took out yesterday, and another area that's going to be bricked up where there are shelves in the kitchen, and we want to use that space for wall cupboards. So the concrete blocks are going in here. Thursday, and we're back in Svishtov, and the electrician is ordering all the electrical spares that he needs to start next week on the wiring of our little house. And Davey's gone to the builders merchants because he needs more cement and also some other components. A few hours later and that lot's delivered, and more bricking up can continue, this time in the bedroom where we're doing the proper job on bricking up that window we don't need. It's Friday, so we're coming to the end of the week and everybody's looking forward to their weekend. And I'd like to thank Davey Driver at this point, because he's hung on to my little pocket camera and he takes it round with him. So he's responsible for capturing all the video that we wouldn't normally be able to see of the way the house is progressing. And as you can see, in 5 days, it's come on leaps and bounds.